Modern Vintage Radio.
Welcome to the Podcast Planner podcast. This show is all about podcasting with a content creation focus because content matters. I'm very tempted to congratulate you at this stage because planning and recording your episodes are some pretty great steps towards podcasting happiness. I won't, not yet at least. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, just go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2. So here's the thing. I've seen too often where publishing is either horribly rushed just to meet a deadline or not done at all because fear and perfection are in the way. These two situations make your audience and I very sad. After all your thoughtful hard work and commitment, you go and do this, you don't publish? Okay, a little dramatic there, I'll admit that. But this is why for this episode, I'll be discussing why and how you can publish with podcasting happiness. I'll first have to tell you that this episode is brought to you by the Podcast Planner, a complete production planner that helps podcasters create their content with recording templates, checklists, brainstorming exercises, and more. Grab your planner today at thepodcastplanner.com. Now back to podcasting happiness. Time block. You bet the T word is back. It's no magic that when you make time for it, situations turn out for the better. Just like planning and recording, time blocking for publishing is needed to ensure that your message, your interviews get across clearly and in the best possible way. This is for your audience and for discoverability. Time block for editing, show notes, episode promotional elements, and anything else that goes into publishing your podcast. Just barely getting your episode published almost always means you miss something very important or the quality just isn't, quality. And here's the funny part. Some may take this editing and time blocking for publishing and even planning way too far. They'll even use it as an excuse for not publishing their episode. These excuses sound like, it's just not there, or I'm afraid people will judge me or call me out on this little part. As Stephen Pressfield puts it, you have to make yourself stop. Better to go with something that's alive than to refine it and correct it to death. He goes on to say that the pursuit of perfection is resistance. Perfection and resistance forms fear, which lead to pod fading. Publishing will lead to confidence and opportunity. What's amazing is how confidence continues to build over time every time you publish. The article that contains that complete quote will be in the episode notes. Let's move away from the episode level to the show level of your podcast. Publishing is the activity of making information available to the general public. Apple Podcast, formerly iTunes, is a great start, but don't stop there. To successfully publish, make your podcast, your voice, your message available on as many platforms as possible so that no one gets left out. I strongly believe that we have to make our podcast super accessible. You can do this by having it on your website, not hidden, by the way. Submit your podcast to Android apps, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, and YouTube. There's even a cool service like subscribe by email. This is not to be confused with signing up for a newsletter. The way this works is that whenever you publish an episode, it will directly email the episode to the person. The link for the service will also be in the episode notes. Now, here's an illusion that I would like to remove. Publishing doesn't mean you're done with the episode. Having a podcast is about starting the conversation. But if you don't make time to engage with your audience, then you're just having a conversation with yourself. Engagement, that's what's coming up in the next episode. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. Most importantly, I'd love to continue this conversation with you, so let me know what's the hardest part for you when it comes to publishing. Is it a matter of getting help? Is confidence at the root of the cause? Let me know. Addie, ADDY, at thepodcastplanner.com. Thank you for listening to the Podcast Planner podcast. If you like the show, please tell anyone you can, any way that you can. Leaving a rating and review is another great way that you can do that. This episode was written and produced by Addie Saucedo. That's me. Hey, Grab some freebies, more episodes, t-shirts, and information by visiting our website, thepodcastplanner.com. You can also follow us on social media. Just search Podcast Planner. Our supporters are Podbean, Team Podcast, Spreaker, Podfest, Podcaster Society, and Podomatic. Until next time, plan, record, and share your voice with the world. Hey, since you stayed to the end of the episode, I have a special promo code for you to grab the Podcast Planner at 10% off plus free shipping. Just enter the promo code GOTIT, GOTIT, at checkout. That is GOTIT, GOTIT, at checkout. Visit thepodcastplanner.com. Thank you for sticking to the end.